Welcome to Sunday night, 8 p.m., the WNY Report with your co hosts, Paula Collins, cannabis tax attorney, and Nikki Lawley, patient advocate. What do you call yourself lately?
Well, I'm still a patient advocate. I will always be one of those. But now you can call me the sales for the laboratory girl. Like CTND, she's got a job now. Boom,
All
slay.
right, boom slay. It's been a long time coming. And, to that point, there are a whole lot of people in cannabis with years and years of experience who are currently unemployed. It's a
Facts.
very sad, sad state in the industry. And that's not just in New York, that's like all across the country.
Yeah, this is true. And, there's a real thing I shared yesterday. Somebody posted a really great post about we need to value our employees. Like, it seems like this industry people are kind of used and thrown away like toilet paper. I hate to say it like that, but they kind of are. Like bud tenders, they're like, I don't know whether it's the employers giving up on people too soon or if it's the employees knowing they can get another job somewhere else or, the grass is always greener.
I don't know. I feel like it's an industry more than others in which people are so motivated to work in the industry that they will, it's almost like the arts. I guess that's the closest thing to it that I can imagine. Like come and do this for the experience. And then you look up and you realize, well, wait a second, I can't really make a living doing this for the experience. The other thing is, what has happened in New York is we thought we would be doing things for the experience for a couple of months, a year, maybe a little bit longer, but it's dragged on for 4 years. I mean, that's an Olympic cycle or a presidency or I don't know what
Is
animal
it 4 or 3?
since MRTA.
21. Yeah, 2021.
So March 2021 and then 2022, 23. Okay, 24. We're
I'm like,
in our
I thought
fourth.
I had bad math skills, Paula. Fuck.
No,
And
we
you're
are
the
in
tax
our
girl.
fourth, I guess is what I'm thinking.
It's
But
very rare I'm right on numbers, so
yeah,
let's just take that for all it's
let's
worth.
we will take that. We will take that and celebrate it. So you went to New York Cannabis Insider. How was that?
OMGGGGG. It was
So
such a
sad
cool
I missed it.
event.
Yeah, I
It,
couldn't. I had something right in the middle of it, so it's not like I could even drive to Syracuse and hang out, you know?
yeah, I mean, it's really not in between Auburn and Syracuse.
Yeah.
It's definitely off the beaten path. It's not like super easy to get to, but I mean it's easy to get to. There's roads. I'm just saying it's just not like dive off the thruway on Syracuse exit 102, right? Um, it was amazing. The drive there was absolutely beautiful. I mean, I'm talking rolling hills, I'm talking beautiful trees, I'm talking like looking into the forest. It was like a whole vibe. And then when I got there, I was just like, wow, what a place. And then I had done a lot of ambassadoring for New York Cannabis Insider. As you know, they are my most favorite news publication for all
Mine
things
too.
New York cannabis.
Mine's
Well, they get at the information. It's not just one sided.
you're kind of freezing up on us, you know.
Connection lost, reconnecting. I love my phone. Am
But we
I
hear you right now.
okay? Wonderful. I wonder if I should just turn my camera off to save bandwidth. I don't know. It's the craziest thing, you guys. I don't even have the Wi Fi on right now, but I came downstairs and, like, oh, hello, we have no Wi Fi. Perfect. So I rebooted everything, and yeah. Am I still frozen?
No, you're good.
Oh, bonus.
But now you're talking like you're a chipmunk.
I'm turning the camera off, damn it. All right.
Okay, let's try this.
Let's try this. Can you hear me
Okay,
okay?
we can hear you. And when
Good.
you speak, you know that kind of pulses.
Bonus. Like a heartbeat.
Bonus.
Um, so
So, how was
anyway,
the?
back to Beacon Skiff. The facility was incredible.
Did you
I
take
got
the tour of the facility?
yes, I did. Oh, I'm nodding my head like you can see it. Um, yes, I did take the tour, and Brianna, I'm not exactly sure how she pronounces it, but OMG, what a wealth of knowledge she was.
Mm,
She knew this process inside and out, and just I learned so much. Coming into testing from never having done laboratory testing, um, it really helped kind of connect the dots from the
mm,
start to the
mhm,
finish of the manufacturing process. So it was exceptionally helpful for me. And then I, got the chance to talk to the two owners, Eddie and Marianne Brennan. And Eddie's followed me on LinkedIn for a long time. So, he kind of knew who I was, and just random as hell, I was kind of sharing my story with these two really pretty women at the event, and then I found out it was really Marianne Brennan. I had no idea, right? And she was just really inspired by my story, and it's the people that don't know that need to know. And
mhm,
I think we touched on this last week that, these events are great, but at the end of the day, we need the people that aren't in the industry to kind of be at these events. We need to have more public representation, whether it's political, school, police, whatever it might be, so that we can normalize the conversation. So everyone doesn't think that just because we've legalized cannabis, everybody's going to be in this super stoned, oblivious state for the next million years. You know what I'm saying? Um, and what you saw at the New York Cannabis Insider event was just that. Like, nobody was too stoned, nobody was too drunk. It was just people gathering with like minds, and that should be okay.
somebody, James of Flatbush, sent me uh, a, a message. James, is the one in Watertown licensed?
What are we talking about?
Well, James of Flatbush sent me a message and said, Paula, have you checked out those dispensaries in Watertown and Ogdensburg? I have not been to Ogdensburg. I go to Watertown fairly often, but I didn't think that there was a licensed. Oh, okay. All right.
I
Next
think
time,
there is one, right?
next time I go to Watertown, I will go. I thought for some reason they had opted out, but perhaps I am incorrect.
Well, the town of Niagara just opted in, so maybe Watertown, in the scheme of things, opted in along the way too.
Mm-hmm. I
I
will check.
mean,
I
let's
really like, I'm close to Potsdam, and I like Firehouse, and I like Highest Peak. Both of them
nice,
are in Potsdam. Highest Peak is, I think I'm saying that right, Highest Peak. Really nice vibe. I really love their shop. Like you walk in,
nice.
you feel very soothed and cared for, and they've got a good range of products, and the staff does a really good job of balancing between attending to you and then letting you just sort of browse and look at the various
Yeah,
offerings. Yeah. And I think
cool.
that's really hard to do. Like, I know that in some dispensaries, the space is such a problem that they really do need to be kind of moving you through the process. But
Correct.
um, Highest Peak, there's enough space there and there's not as much foot traffic. And so, or maybe there is foot traffic, but just not at times that I've been in there. That, you can literally browse. So that's kind of cool.
Very cool. So, New York Cannabis Insider event, check. Next item on the list.
I
We
kind of
do prep
interrupted you.
for
I
this,
went
you
off on this
guys.
tangent. So, what else did people talk about at Cannabis Insider?
Well, we learned about micros. There were 3 people there that were doing micros. I met this really cool dude, Time. I can't think of his last name, damn it, right now. But coolest dude ever. He's building like a cool, almost micro consumption hemp clothing kind of vibe.
And
Then
so, how do you scale that so it makes money? That's what I can't figure out about the micro.
I kind of can't either, but I'm hoping that they're going to be able to scale sort of like, I don't know, maybe there'll be a micro business collective that they all do like wine tour kind of stuff together, or, come check out, like, how they do micro brew tours and wine tours. Maybe we'll
Mm-hmm.
eventually have that option. But, canopy size being limited makes it really hard to produce a lot of product
Mm-hmm.
for these micros. And they can only sell their own product in the dispensary. It's not like they can go pop some Rove on their shelves or pop some uh, GTI on their shelves. They have to like have their product. So if
Mm-hmm.
they kind of make a crappy product, you're kind of screwed as to what you're going to sell, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but they can sell to distribution, I believe, or is it to actual dispensaries? They can do something with just a very limited amount of product, though, is
Mm-hmm.
my understanding. But and the expense for like I'm actually
Wait, you just spoke chipmunk language again.
how about now?
Yeah, we can't
Lawley.
really comprehend what you're saying.
Lovely. Can you now?
Yes.
Yeah, I really don't understand you guys. I guess I got to call Spectrum tomorrow. Add that to my list because this is not going to fly for me all day tomorrow when I have a Zoom call after Zoom call. Um, but I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, about testing and micros. So micro businesses so every product in New York State has to have a QR code and has to be tested by a third party lab. That
Mm-hmm.
testing is quite expensive. When you go for a compliance test, it's a full panel. I mean, it's microbials, it's heavy metals, it's yeast, mold, potency, terpenes. Um, it's like a whole thing. And pesticides. I don't know if I said that one. But it's expensive. Like every time you do a batch, okay, so let's say there's, I don't know, somebody's got 5,000 pre rolls that they want to sell. Okay. Of that, I have to randomly select a certain amount of containers. So, like in pre roll instance, zero point 0.5 size, I have to have 32 pre rolls, all from different places. So, if you have multiple strains, in a 5 pack of pre rolls, let's say, you have to get each of those tested. So that's like a lot, a lot of money because each one of those 5 has to be tested. So 5 times, let's just use 900 or 800 as your base number. I mean, for volume, of course, there's cheaper options, but when it's just one product, that's a lot of money for a micro. Like if you're only growing 5 pounds a pot,
Yeah, that's what I don't get. So, if you're only growing, like to be compliant with the rules, you can only grow so much. But then
correct.
if if that much of it, if half of it goes for testing and it has to, it's a big chunk that goes for testing, not just money wise, but actual product. And if you can't grow that much, I just don't understand how the micro makes a profit unless, now what has been said to me by very wise weed men, I mean, the type that, whoa, blah, 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 blah. I mean, what they insist to me is that the value of the micro isn't in volume, it's in distinguishing yourself with a very high-end product. So like a small vineyard that produces just a very limited amount of wine each year. I kind of get that, but then that leans very, very heavily on your marketing to convey that.
100%. And and again, I want them all to succeed because I want their testing, but I want them to be realistic about their expectations. And like, you're not going to be able to grow like 20 different strains of this high caliber, high potency thing
Mhm.
unless you're prepared to shell out all that money for testing for every one of those. And people don't understand that. Like, I literally was talking to a micro and she had no idea that's how it really worked.
Mhm.
And this is a new business category and people don't know what they don't know, and we've only equipped them with so much knowledge and we expect them to just go on their own and just be successful, and that's going to be hard if you don't understand the rules and regs for getting your product on your shelf.
Well, and it's also going to be hard in that we've had so few examples of it nationwide. As well as, I mean, especially in New York, we've had very few examples. I mean, it's brand new and nobody really knows. We're all kind of experimenting, and which kind of is a good segue to what happened in the OCM meeting. Unless, wait, before we leave the Cannabis Insider event, is there any, I mean, other than getting together and seeing all of our friends, what else was fantastic about it?
I mean, it's really just the connection.
Okay, you're in chipmunk speak again. Are you going to go away and come back? Is that what you just said? Okay, I think I'm all alone. So Nikki has gone away for the moment, but she will be back. We're trying to figure out whether this is sustainable for her tonight. She's having internet trouble. We did have a whole lot happen. Um,
I'm here,
oh,
maybe.
good. That sounds so much better. You don't sound like a chipmunk. So James of Flatbush just posted in the chat that Ravensview Genetics was awarded their micro business license in the
Yes.
meeting. Yes.
And
So,
she was there. So she was one of the speakers. She was one of the
so
great
what did
speakers,
she talk
Joanne.
about? Tell us what she talked about.
Just all the legislative hoops you got to kind of go through.
Mhm.
Originally, they had to pivot. They had to change their business plan because I think, and you'll have to forgive me because I listened intently at the time, but but right now a lot of it's escaping me. But I feel like she was a really good speaker and she's really big in compliance and management of the business. And so her husband is Michael, and he's more the visionary, more the guy who, wanted to grow like a million strains, and she kept kind of reining it in. But now they did get their micro, and they feel that's going to be the best thing for them.
Mhm.
So kudos to Ravensview Genetics, boom slay. But she did an excellent job,
Good.
and I love New York Cannabis Insider events. I can't help it. And P.S. They don't pay me to say that, just so you know. Uh,
Oh, I'm kind of the same way. And, I have to confess that the morning of, I woke up and I thought, could I move an appointment that I had? And it was a fairly important, meet and greet kind of thing. could I move that and drive to Syracuse? Because I'm not really all that far away. Um, in fact, well, I say Syracuse, just that general
Yeah, yeah,
vicinity.
yeah.
Um, and it was mostly because I just really love the people, and I love what they do in particular. I love Brad and all of the crew. They just
Yeah.
do a wonderful, wonderful job. Um, and I note that they're taking a month off. I don't remember that they've ever taken a whole month off. I think that.
Well, just from events, they're not like taking the month off. You know,
Oh, I misunderstood that. Um,
I definitely got the vibe. It's literally just we're not having an event in July, but
oh,
they're
well,
still going to be
that makes
reporting and
sense.
everything.
I mean, we're going to have a major heat wave come through.
Major. My parents are coming from Florida tomorrow, and like they brought that shit with them.
No. How did they manage in the floods?
Not well. I heard they definitely got flooded out a little bit for sure. They live
Right.
in Fort Myers, and there was some issues, but we didn't really speak of them because we were more focused on getting them here. But I'm excited. They're going to be here for like 3 weeks, so that's cool. I probably won't see much of them because I'm working so much, but
Well,
oh
they would be
well.
happy that you're working, I bet.
They are. They're very
It's been
happy.
a long journey. Joseph Ortiz just said, "Hey, Nikki. Hey, Paula. Hey, Joseph."
Hey, Joe.
So let's see. Let me pull up my notes here that we have. Cannabis Insider. I mean, not Cannabis Insider. The CCB meeting.
Yes.
The highlights, and I'm reading from what I think you had pulled from the interwebs.
Well,
So,
I pulled it off some other attorney's site, and I forget who, but I
yeah,
thanked him at the time.
Chairwoman Wright, that would be Tremaine,
Yes.
announced Felicia Reed as the new Executive Deputy Director and Acting Executive Director. Congrats, Felicia, and best of luck. And I have to say, Felicia seemed very pleasant. Um, I was a little concerned when I read her credentials, and also I'm still concerned. She has zero intersection with cannabis, and she seems to have a lot of intersection with administrative and regulatory kinds of work. And so more shall be revealed. She seems like a lovely human being, but there are a few people in the state who know things about cannabis. And if you can't find them in the state, you could find them in
Out
some
of
of
the state.
the states.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That one confused me, but maybe people with more knowledge than I were making that decision. Then we get to licensing matters. We are up to 1,091 in the November queue. 789 dispensary locations currently have proximity protection. We're going to talk about proximity protection a little bit later. Pardon me, I ate peanut butter earlier. Adult use cannabis licenses were approved, copied from, oh, never mind. There were 25 cultivators, still not enough. 22 distributors.
Now wait, stop. Are these, but some of these were not brand new cultivators or
Right,
processors. They were just getting their permanent license from their conditional, correct?
right. So the conversions, it seems like, oh, that light's weird. The conversions there were four. No, that's processors. Never mind. Um, what I want to know is how many of the people who applied to convert are there still left in the queue? Because I've got a client in that predicament. Um, the other thing about that is how many, you know, we go back and forth between saying we have way too many cultivators and then saying we have way too few.
I know.
And I don't know. I don't know what the magic number is. But I guess I should know how many cultivators are licensed as we speak, and now we've added 25. And of those that are licensed, how many are really going at full production? Because
Right.
you can have a license and that doesn't obligate you to put seeds in the ground or.
In the greenhouse. Right.
So moving on from cultivators, 22 distributors. That's a lot of people running around distributing.
Getting 15% off the
From
cultivator's
whom?
price.
That's what I can't figure out. Where's
It's the
that?
cultivators. The cultivators are going to take
Cultivators.
the hit.
Ooh, so much for their break on their taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, processors 19 with the breakdown as follows. Tier 1, 8 processors. Tier 2, 5 processors. Tier 3, 2 processors. I don't understand that. It's a white label agreement. I don't understand why there's like
2.
what is it to review about that application? Are you going to come see my facility? It's a desk. Like,
You never know, Paula. They want to meet their kitties.
here it is. Here it is. It's a phone.
Boom slay. All right. So
Okay.
yeah, they definitely didn't do a lot of tier 3s.
Um, AUC, then the notes, most of the distributors are AUCCs and AUCPs. Exactly.
Oh.
Right. But
Okay.
and they're claiming that license with which is what they've been doing anyway. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense with the distributor number. I didn't dive that far into it, so okay. Thank you for that
okay.
clarification.
Retail, 17 new retail.
Hey, and my pals, Green Philosophy 716. Go Jackie. Go
Go Jackie.
Curtis.
We've been waiting a long time for that one.
Long time.
That's
Cheers, cheers, cheers. Everybody go check out Green Philosophy 716, peeps.
so let's talk about Jackie because she's had her place and she's been operating,
A
right?
hemp store. Yeah, but she's been operating just a hemp store. I mean, this
So
woman has been in 100% compliance the whole time.
so what is the process now for her? I mean, I guess she has to get the inspections.
She has to get the final visual inspection, I think. I just talked to her and she told me, but I can't look up my text because we're on my phone.
Oh,
So, but she said she was waiting for the final inspection and just like a lot of paperwork shit she was doing, was my understanding. But I definitely think they're going to be, I think she said August was her goal open
okay.
for launch, but don't quote me on that. But
I will
I
not.
just love what they're doing, and having a doctor as the woman-owned dispensary is pretty impressive, and they really care about the well-being of humans, and that's pretty damn awesome. So kudos, Jackie and Curtis. Congratulations again from the WNY Report in West Seneca. Ooh, listen to that.
Sorry, that was me.
Ooh, listen to that. Um, but yeah, so cool that we have 17 more coming on.
And then in our list, 20 micro businesses. It says various applications were denied. Oh yeah, they did vote on those denials. Some were cards who did not meet the license requirements, and this was form over substance. Oh, and also other people, like there were some people that they had applied for card and then they applied for another license and they got the other license, so now they're abandoning the card.
Oh, okay.
So then home cultivation regulations were
Yeah, baby.
approved. Um, again, watch your pocketbook because it can be very expensive to just say, "Oh, I'm going to try my hand at this." and you start putting together the lights and the irrigation and all kinds of stuff, the humidification,
The
and then
dehumidification.
once you've got the plants grown, you're going to have to do something with them. Um, you can now cultivate adults. You can now cultivate up to 6 plants. No more than 12 are permitted per household.
That's per household. It doesn't matter if you have 15 kids, you still can only have 12 per household.
So Joe is saying home cultivation can be affordable. That's what we specialize in.
Yes, PCC, Private Caregivers Collective. Boom slay to Joe.
Boom slap.
Reach out to PCC Collective. Um, it can be affordable, but it can also be incredibly frustrating. You're looking at well, you're not looking at me, you're hearing me. Uh, you're looking at someone who tried growing 7 distinct different times with all the right start, just not the green thumb. I mean, I'm pretty sure both thumbs are black.
Yeah.
Um, I had every problem known to man, child, and dog. And it really was heartbreaking to go through all these months to not have a product that worked, to not have a product, to have to literally baby these plants every damn day when they get to a certain size. And it was just the most frustrating thing. I'll pay all day long at a licensed dispensary that has testing with their products. And I mean, I'm seeing all kinds of stuff, people, in this testing stuff. I'm seeing what the flower really looks like. I'm seeing what it's really tested at. And without a test, you really are kind of taking health risks at your own risk, literally. Um, like there are people testing hot for microbials, for pesticides, for heavy metals, and it's like a real thing. And if they didn't have that testing, so when you're growing your little 12 plants in your garden, you don't know what the dirt is that you're using, or the hose water. Maybe it's coming from a bad pipe. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're just using rainwater runoff, you're subject to the pollution in the air. So that heavy metal is pretty much raining down on your plant. You know, um, it's a real thing.
Yeah. Joe says we can hold your hand through the entire process. Joe's got to claim his turf, and I don't blame him. I mean, for some, education is key. That's what we agree, Nikki.
Yes.
Um, I just don't have the space in my New York City apartment, and in the apartment where I'm living now,
Oh, they'd
um,
throw your ass out.
they probably would. Um, plus, here I'm so busy. I mean, I never thought I would be busier than I am in New York City, but I'm really very busy. It's kind of amazing. I am driving back to the city on Friday. It'll be kind of interesting.
Wow.
I haven't been back in a long time. I don't
Your
even know.
kitties will be so happy to see
They
you.
will be very happy to see me. Um, 2 foot square, 4 foot tall. That's all you need. Yeah, well, I don't even have that in the city apartment. Honestly, I don't. It's an amazing space. Moving on. So at this point, the license statistics are as follows: cards with final licenses, 155. Card operating delivery only, 9. Rods, those are the those are the large people.
ROs. Yeah.
ROs, 4. Provisionally approved retail dispensaries, 349, and that's card and AU retail combined. So that means that those people, 349 of them, could come online literally any day as soon as
Wow.
they get all of their stuff cleared. But then people will stay in that provisionally licensed dilemma for months, for years, not
Yeah.
years. Some of them it probably feels like years. It's very long months. AU cultivators, including AUCCs, 115. Well, that answers that question. And then AU processors, including AU CPs, 70.
Okay. Well,
So
we
lots,
had 40, so
lots more
that's,
people growing than processing. Distributors, 74.
but that could be the AUC, well, that could be the processor or the cultivator.
Micro businesses, 113, and of those, 48 have retail.
Hmm.
I didn't realize it was that many. Did you?
Well, they talked about originally 250, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but I
to all
guess,
these numbers, they change. So it's like, I guess I'm not that surprised, but I just know.
and like I say, it's one thing to get the license, but your journey has really only just begun when you get the license.
Correct.
Okay, retail dispensaries, adult use retail dispensaries, 131. So
I
card
thought we
with,
said 135.
well, okay, so that's interesting. Card with final licenses is 155, but adult use retail dispensaries, 131. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And then of those, no, not of those, New York City and Long Island retail dispensaries, 65. Now remember, Long Island, there aren't that many.
No, Long Island has like three.
Yeah. Upstate retail dispensaries, 67. It's a big state. And again, that's people who hold the license. That doesn't mean that they're open yet.
Right.
And then we go through the sales data.
We don't have to go into that.
I will say 2024 cannabis sales will cross $200 million in early June 2024.
Hmm.
Is right. May closed with a new weekly sales record of 12.5 million. And then John Kagia talked.
Yes.
I think I texted you during that.
You might have.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Um,
watching it because I was working, but yeah.
so he outlined,
We
the
don't got to get into that. If somebody wants to dive deep, go get on that OCM site and
okay.
dive.
All
Dive,
right.
Waldo. The whole meeting's recorded. There's a whole thing of notes. You can read the transcript or you can watch the meeting. Go to OCM, hit the little hamburger menu on the left, and go down to, I want to say it says board meetings or something like about us or something. And then you go to board meetings and then scroll down to the CCB. And at the bottom of the page, boom, there they all are.
So there are, oh my goodness. I don't know what caused that sound. So shifting the discussion a bit to legislative activity.
Yes.
Um, a total of 94 cannabis bills are being tracked, according to this person. I think this came from Cooney's site. I'm not sure.
Was it Cooney or Talil? Talil, like, really did a nice breakdown.
Oh, maybe it was Talil. Ty, as he likes to
Ty.
call him.
Yes, Ty.
And
But
of
he's
course,
not on LinkedIn as Ty, so that's
right.
why I did. It's the only
Um,
way I can find him is the TAH thing.
so
So 94 bills. We've got the insurance bill up there trying to get passed. We've got whatever happened with the Cannabis Growers Showcase. Are they allowed or are they not allowed?
So there is a bill, Hinchy and Lupardo authorizes the CCB to issue a cannabis event showcase event permit to certain licensees authorized to conduct retail sales. So that would be different from somebody deciding to have like a 420 event and
Okay.
getting a license for that day. So this is only an event license. The event license could only come from a retailer.
Okay.
All right. Um, and those that legislation passed both houses of the legislature, Senate and Assembly. So that
Mm-hmm.
means that it's waiting for the governor's,
Local. Yep.
which she doesn't. I mean, she's been known to let things just sit on her desk and die.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, don't they usually all? I mean, if it's not important to them, they don't care. Kind of.
yeah, yeah.
So, do tell us about the latest proximity thingy.
So the latest proximity thingy, I need to do more research, but there are a couple of things going on. One, there's a lawsuit that was actually filed earlier in the month. The days and weeks kind of.
No, how is it almost June 20th? I mean, like, where did May go? Just saying.
Yeah. Um, so I think it was filed June the 3rd. I could pull it up.
You don't got to pull it up.
I don't need to. But basically somebody is saying that they received word from the OCM that they had proximity protection. And then a few weeks later, they got word saying, oh no, we made a mistake.
Just kidding. Made you wonder.
Yeah. And so that's a problem. And then I think that Ruben was saying that there was another lawsuit on proximity protection filed recently. There was the one where, um, you know, basically somebody had proximity protection, but then, or no, they were
Somebody
trying,
opened their a card came in or something.
yeah, and the card got priority.
Yes.
Um, and you're hearing all kinds of crazy things where a card might have priority but then they don't have the ability to open for all of the other reasons, like $1 million,
Right. Like
um,
money.
for
Let's
example.
focus that.
Um, and so, you got to wonder how do we weigh the factors? How do we weigh what's more important? Is it important to hold it for the card and hope that,
The
sometime
card is able to open.
sometime in the next 5 years or something? Or do we say, oh, we've held this for a long time for you and now it's time to move on? I don't know. How do you balance the equities? I just don't know.
I don't either. And like, I don't know, is there liquor store protection? Like, do you have protection if you're a liquor store? I mean, I guess I don't know the answer to that.
I still think that, and maybe this will be sometime when the industry is more mature. I think that there is, and this is my opinion, let me be very clear about that. It's my opinion that there is space to have destinations. For example, why is it that there are so many unlicensed shops on the Lower East Side? Well, because there are a lot of people there who are interested in buying and smoking marijuana. And so why not license a succession of shops there? I don't know. Or the area around Times Square, but you've got so much tourism, and as we all know, people have thought that it's legal in New York for years now. They've thought that.
Yes.
And so, um, why not license a succession of shops there and make it kind of a destination? Like when you
Have
go
some
to a college
cafes, you
town and
know?
you see bar after bar after bar, and you think, yes, this is the place to be. This is happening. This is people feel alive. And I think Jersey City, which is across the river from Manhattan, they were able to accomplish that, or they're in the process of accomplishing that. Um, it's very interesting to travel around the state and see the different vibes, like it just, and I had somebody come up from the city and go with me to the two shops here in Potsdam. And we were just remarking, just first of all, the pace is just notably different. And second,
Yeah, you're looking at somebody that like had no pace in New York City when she was there. So I can get that. I get that really well.
and then, like one shop we walked into and we felt like we had awakened the guy from a nap. Um, because there was like nothing else happening. And then also the space, the whereas in you know these guys were coming. Well, I can't say they're coming from the unlicensed world. They have, like so many of our colleagues, they have activities in multiple states, and even in their licensed shops in other states, they have to really um, conserve shelf space. They have to use
Yes.
every bit of shelf space, and so um,
So it's notably different. Like when you go into Dr. Jackie's store, it's so big and so pretty. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like there's so much space that it's a whole different vibe when you're crunched into a little tiny walkway of a building versus, you know, an old bank.
Yeah,
And that's where she's at. So
yeah.
it makes a big difference of
James
the
of
vibe and
James tells me that two card dispensaries open near Times Square. I had heard about that. I saw.
dude, yes, because when I was walking during one of my journeys, I passed by a licensed shop, but it had the New York State sticker on it and I didn't realize it until I walked by, but I had never heard of it. Like it wasn't a
Yeah,
name that I was familiar with. So I was kind of sketched out based on all of our conversations on people making photocopies of stickers that are bullshit. So I wasn't positive, but I mean it looked like upscale enough that and it looked like there's a security dude there. Like it looked like it was legit.
so two other things happened, and we are kind of getting down to the last 10 minutes of our show. But two other things happened. One is the lawsuit that I've been waiting for, but I don't think this is the right one. Where several unlicensed shops got together and filed an Article 78 saying that the current enforcement practices are unconstitutional. It will be interesting to see how that goes and whether, like, I would really be interested, when I've approached shop owners and said, if we could find the right plaintiff, in other words, the right individual, we could make this work. But in order to do that, you've got to completely cease operations and you've got to have a whole lot of money to invest in this. And,
Right.
very few people are able to do that. So I think it's something like 27 shops have gotten together. I don't know. I know of the lawyer that has filed it. He's not somebody um, who travels in our, how there are people who are active in marijuana, but they're not on LinkedIn and they don't go to like Cannabis Insider events. They don't go to shows. They don't go to MJ. They don't do anything. They're just really tending their shops. And so 27 people, and the lawyer that is filing it is somebody who does a lot of violations work with oath and with other, you know, violations like state liquor authority. So it'll be interesting to watch and to see. There was one other kind of big thing that happened in cannabis this week, and it just escaped my head. Um,
So did I tell you that both forms of meta removed our last talk and like banned me because I was incited for violence and killing or something. Like, so when we were talking about the situation with you running for Congress and having some wackawoos, that literally created such a ruckus that,
you
like,
didn't tell me that. I didn't know that.
yeah, well, I didn't either until they pretty much shut down both my personal page and my Nikki and the plant page. Yeah, I mean, they're getting like stupid now. Like, how is it that other people can be promoting violence for real and
Mm-hmm.
talking about doing things in a bad way, and their stuff doesn't get flagged, and they just removed it. They don't even like say this is going against policy and your stuff can't be recommended to non-followers. They just take it the fuck down.
It's very strange.
I mean, if anyone's got money to take censorship to court, like, I'm on that one with you people, because I do nothing sales wise, nothing. I educate. I
Mhm.
educate and I share content that I believe people's lives can be impacted by. I don't, you know, I'm not like some kind of religious zealot that's trying to create a cult. I'm not trying to create anything that's not right and legit. And we literally were talking about violence being enacted towards you. We were not saying it was happening, but we
Right.
were saying that this situation was getting a little bit preposterous and out of control, and
And
they took it down.
and it was not in the context of cannabis. It was in the context of my
Political stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I am so sorry that happened to you.
Don't worry about it. I'm not going to change who I am for Meta. They can just see the real Nikki and deal with it. It's just so frustrating on all platforms how much my reach has diminished. I mean, I was a thing for like 2 years. And then they cracked down, and they
Uh-huh.
cracked down so hard that if you don't type in exactly my name, if you don't type in the plant connects the dots spelled out on Instagram, you will not find me. If you type in Nikki and the plant, if you spell Nikki wrong, it won't even give you alternative suggestions. You have to get it right, perfectly spelled, which is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
So the shadow banning, the censorship, now literally taking lives down that we're educating people on what's going on in New York State, just shitty, really shitty.
Yeah. That's amazing. I'm quite stunned by that.
You really are. You don't even know what to say. I've got you speechless,
Well, I mean,
Paula.
I got a weird phone call um like at about 6 o'clock today, and I don't even want to get into it, but it's just so bizarre how, and yet I've really tried to get other media besides Fox to pick it up, and they won't bite. And now what's happening is like the local or the regional newspapers, um, they usually run, like, a lot of them only publish weekly, and so the letters to the editor are starting to pop up, where of course I'm a terrible human being,
Yeah.
for saying what I said, and yet what's in the newspaper today, that's Donald Trump's thing, is to set up camps, and so
Oh my God.
he can say it, but I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
The difference is
And
he wants to put immigrants in camps, and you know what? He did that once before.
it didn't really have a positive outcome.
No. Um, so yeah, Joe is saying a lot of things. He wants to join in on the censorship lawsuit, and it's no joke. And his account is the same way. They don't care who they ban.
No, they really don't. And it's Insta and Facebook. And so people are like, oh, go on Twitter. Dude, I just don't have the energy to go on more. I just don't. Like,
Yeah, I
I'm
don't.
literally at capacity and learning a new job and like dealing with contact management crap and everything that goes into it. It's like, I don't, if I can't do it easily, I just don't do it.
Well, I now have two people handling my X, which is Twitter. And I'm not to post anything. Same thing with the campaign Facebook page. I'm not supposed to do anything with it. And then tomorrow we're going to have another meeting, and I think I don't have a robust presence on Instagram. I've never been an Instagram girl.
Yeah.
It just, I think because so much of it is
There's some
video.
definite wackawoos on there. Watch out. You better turn off commenting.
Okay, that's a good
Do you know what I'm
suggestion.
saying? I mean, there are wackadoodles there, like next level wackadoodles. Like I can't even like talk on if I've already been banned for everything I said last week, which was pretty tame. What
Yeah, it
they've
was
said to
tame.
me.
I mean, I'm really taken aback by it that they connected that conversation with cannabis in the same week in
No,
which
I don't think that was it. I think they connected it with guns and violence. They're literally like saying because like we made a comment, something like you better watch both ways when you cross the street kind of thing. And
that's what
like
somebody told me. Yeah.
I know, but like that's violence. That's inciting potential violence. I mean,
Yeah,
look,
well,
I don't agree with it, but like, yeah, just
wow,
BS. But I'm
that
just
is,
saying, when you hit Instagram, it's like even worse for censorship. Like, never ever use any cannabis hashtags ever, like cannabis for Congress or anything like that. Like, Congress for cannabis, like, you just can't. You can't use anything with the word cannabis in it, or it's like immediate, take it down. So I try and get super creative, and even plant medicine is getting shadow banned now. So
well, I'm going to hand that over to an intern to do, who, like, all she does, her only social media is Insta. So she's, whereas my other two people don't want to do Instas.
there you go.
Do Insta. And yet so many people say, why don't you have an Instagram
Why
page?
don't you have an Instagram?
Because we don't like Instagram.
Well, I got
That
Instagram, and
doesn't
now
sound
I'm
like,
like
oh yeah,
more.
vote for me.
Yeah, right. Well, you've got lots of people in your corner that definitely want you to win. So I happen to be one of them.
Well, thank you.
Um, and your tenacity that you haven't given up despite you know obstacles. I was asked that question by a couple different people. Is Paula like really committed to running? Like, is she really into this? Because like if her safety's in jeopardy, like she should really think about this. Like, she's damn committed. Like, she's invested. She's like
Well,
doesn't.
I'm too old to join the military. And
Facts.
and I do believe we are in the fight for our country. And so to me, this is one of those things that you just drop everything and go and take care of this.
And it's ballsy. It's ballsy. It's brave. And you're a badass in my book.
Thank you.
And I dare say, the first threat I would have gotten, I would have been like, okay, we're out. But
No, it's emboldened me.
yeah, I know. I mean, your blogs are definitely spicy there. Like, I like it.
Oh, I don't think
I
do you subscribe?
I don't know if I
I
do or
did one
not.
this morning that,
Oh, I didn't get that one.
okay, I'll send it to you. But it's kind of a rehash, but it was based on some of the letters to the editor that I was reading and from a particular newspaper, like
Human.
local,
Yeah.
yeah, local newspaper. So
Can I just
anyway,
tell you, Paula, you're gonna have to like start advertising in those little podunk papers because that's these old people, they read that. Like, they
yeah,
actually read that.
I'm getting that
Um,
cranked up this week, actually.
and I mean, I forget who it was. Somebody's like, well, why isn't she in the penny savers there? I'm like, penny savers? What are you talking about?
Well,
I mean, but
it's
they really
interesting,
do read them.
but I've been told not to advertise in the penny savers because a lot of those people don't vote, but then do advertise in the, like, the regional papers. Like there's a St. Lawrence County paper, and there's Like the letter to the editor that I was commenting on, that's based in Glens Falls, which is across, it's on the other side of the
Yeah.
Adirondack Park from here. Um, yeah, it's all very interesting. I wish that we could just have certainty, and we don't have it.
We don't even have a little bit of certainty,
Mm-mm.
especially not with what's happening with people getting convicted and then just like running around like nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
It's a little concerning.
Hmm.
But that's another talk for another day. So I would like to say goodnight to all who joined and those who are listening to this replay. We welcome you and look forward to seeing you next week here on
Sweet.
LinkedIn with the Western New York Report.
Bye.
Signing off, Nikki, Lawley, and Paula.